AI is like a magical toolbox. It can predict equipment failures before they happen, optimize production schedules, reduce waste, and ultimately save company millions. Millions, yes. In fact, AI in manufacturing could contribute up to 4 trillion annually to the global economy by 2030. Trillion with a T. That's so many zeros that you would need a new keyboard. So our session today, we'll dive into these fascinating developments, starting with a free flow knowledge exchange with our panel of industry experts. It will be an open, honest conversation about how AI is transforming manufacturing, where it's making the most impact, and of course, that is very important, where it's facing resistance. You might even hear some of the behind the scenes challenges, which is often the best part. All right. And after that, we also have a special segment today. We'll move into a special segment called Startup Pitching Sessions, where some of the brightest minds in AI will show us how their innovative solutions, is transforming the manufacturing industry, that too within 6 minutes to pitch. So we have got everything from AI models to spot defect faster than human eye to algorithms that can, optimize productions like never before. So we have all our innovators with us today. And we'll be moving to our next segment after our open discussion with our leaders. Right? I think we are all set to get started. It's already 5:05. Right? Let's kick off things by introducing our remarkable panel of speakers, each of whom brings unique expertise, perspective on how tech or AI is reshaping manufacturing. So first we have Ramchandran S. Ram, as we call him, principal consultant at Infosys Knowledge Institute. Ram, can we have you on the screen, please? Ram brings deep industry insights. All right, we have Ram, industry insights, turning research into strategies, right? That makes an impact. So welcome, Ram. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Naman. Thank you for inviting.
All right. So joining us next, we have Achyut Chandra, who leads strategy and open innovation for HCL Softwares in government and public sector space. Well, Achyut, welcome to the Open Innovator session. And open innovation is, as you can see, very close to our heart. And we have so many questions lined up for you today. Welcome to the Open Innovator session. And
thank you for having me.
Next, now let's welcome Jamin Tanna, sub-segment head and engineering director for industry automation at Siemens. Right, Jamin is where tech meets the factory floor, especially in automation and startups, and he is no stranger to bringing ideas from vision to reality. Really looking forward to your insights, Jamin.
Thank you for having me here.
And last, but certainly not the least, we have Harini Godla, Associate Director and Senior Enterprise Principal Architecture at GSK. So Harini's experience in enterprise strategy and architecture actually makes her an expert in designing resilient. Great to have you with us, Harini.
Hello, Naman. Thanks for having me, everyone. Looking forward.
All right. So we have all our panels on the screen, please. All right. So we have everyone on the screen now. We'll just straight away dive into the discussion, the first segment of today's session, and then we'll move to the startup pitches, right? So we'll get this conversation started with Harini first, right? Harini, as our only woman on the panel, we are excited to, hear your unique perspective, right? And with your expertise, so our team did a little bit of research. So with your expertise in, data engineering and analytics, right? So how do you see AI, and advanced analytics transforming traditional manufacturing processes, right? And a follow-up question, right? Could you also, share some examples where data-driven insights have actually led to significant improvements?
Absolutely. First is, I think you started with a statement saying manufacturing is boarding the bus and then it's going fast. And so I would like to add in on that statement first is that the AI was predominantly started with manufacturing, I would say, because the data is huge there and they are the most, automated systems you could see in the whole industry. and we all hopped on to manufacturing train, I would say.
Yeah.
That's my personal observation. And number two, you said how data analytics is making a drive through in the manufacturing. For me, I would not boil the ocean. I would go with two topics today. That is predictive maintenance, which is very, very, very important. This term is not new. This is the third layer of Horizon 3, and then we keep talking about predictive maintenance. Till now, have we achieved 100% of predictive maintenance? No. Simple as that. I know somebody would hate me, but no, because there are multiple reasons why. But yes, it is. See, the moment predictive maintenance comes into picture, we should be able to identify the bullwhip effect. How much is the input? How much is the outcome? What are the ups and downs that are happening in this is a supply chain to commercial process, which is very important. It is not a small ML model sits somewhere and predicts something. No. And one. Number two is measurability of this analytics and maintenance is very, very, very important, because often having 10 models is not an indication of success. Having measurable outcome is the indication of success. Right now, manufacturing as in when it holds large amount of data, it is in silos, it is in legacy systems. If we cannot connect all these systems together, get the data together, and get our maintenance predictive really properly, then bullwhip effect will not be identified, and then we are in trouble. But what makes us life easier is that now the technology has advanced. GenAI is coming in. I think we have a lot of opportunity to improve on integration, interoperability, and change of mindset from the legacy systems in manufacturing. That's my take.
Well, that's actually a pretty interesting take, and I especially like the fact that 10 different models could not indicate success. Rather, it's measurable outcomes, which is very important. And for all our attendees and startups listening to us, this is something that we all should note down. And on that note, so we'll circle back again, Harini. We'll come to you again. So on that note, Ram, let's turn to you next, right? And let's talk about the hottest kid in the town right now, Gen AI, right? It's really shaping the entire product life cycle, especially in industries like automotive. So now my question to you is, how do you see Gen AI being used across product life cycles in manufacturing, sector, where the impact and let's talk about impact. What impact is it having, particularly in the automotive sector?
Sure, Naman. That's an interesting question you brought up. So, like you said, AI ML has been used for decades. So we are talking about generative AI today, and like you said, generative AI today has effective applications across the entire life cycle of a product. Maybe we can take an automobile, for example, today. So if you look at the stages in the life cycle of a product, we start from conceptualization of the product, design of the product, then you plan, you source, you buy parts, you make it in the factory, then it is used, and even end of life management is very important today. So what we find is that generative AI is very effectively used across all these stages in the life cycle. We have examples from different companies. All of them may not be at, they may not have reached large economies of scale. Some of it is in pilot, but there are definitely applications across the entire life cycle. But what is of a specific interest is, so Infosys, we did a study called Generative AI Radar to study the adoption of Gen AI across geographies and industries. So in manufacturing specifically, one interesting finding was that the design of new products, enhancements to it, I would primarily call it NPD, new product design. That is the use case which has most impact according to our study findings. And no big surprise for those who come from manufacturing, because as we know, design is the most important stage in the life cycle of a product, because 70%, up to 70% of the total cost of ownership of a product across its life cycle is determined during the design stage. Any mistakes we make during design is going to percolate across the entire life cycle. So my focus is on how generative AI is used for design of new products. So Harini spoke about predictive maintenance. There are other use cases. Very broadly, I would split it into two. One is top line focused or revenue focused. So what I would say is companies which are willing to take more risk, which are confident about their products, which have in their culture to come out with new products, a product-based culture, those companies use generative AI in design to come out with new innovative products. Other companies are also there, but I would say they may have a cash cow, they may have a proven product. So they may focus more on cost reduction for better bottom line. So where you use Gen AI, is it for top line growth or is it for bottom line growth? That's one way of looking at it. So bottom line, yes. So if you look at planning, Tesla has been using it for demand forecasting. Their safety stock levels have come down. Inventory on hand has come down. If you look at sourcing, it's used for Gen AI is used for contract negotiation, for
Right.
parts procurement. Inside the factory, so many examples. End of life, interestingly, Siemens has come up with an application where a robot with computer vision segregates plastic parts into those that can be recycled, not recyclable. So like I said, the design is our focus. So I have had some interesting discussions with Professor Michael from Stanford, Professor Valerie from Wharton. Some interesting things I think we'll talk about it later. For example, hallucination is generally seen as a challenge or an issue with generative AI. But in case of design of new products, hallucination could be an interesting concept to come out with out-of-box thinking, right? So
Right.
those are some interesting things. And there are obviously challenges like copyright violations, IP infringement, that could be some bias, right? Ethical issues are there. So that's where a human has to be in the loop when we talk about generative AI in new product development, so that the human, he or she, validates what is a product. We make sure there are no violations and that it is an ethical design. So that's my take. We can go deeper into how generative AI is used for design of new products. In automotive industry, there are several examples. Again, it does a good balancing of aesthetics versus performance. For example,
Right.
Nissan recently spoke about a grille which they have designed. It has to be aesthetically looking because it is the face of the car. At the same time, it needs thermodynamic, aerodynamic performance. So generative AI design is able to come out with several iterations and balance both the creative part and the technical part. So interesting times ahead. Look forward to this discussion. Thank you, Naman. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Ram, for that opening remark. It's always exciting to see how Gen AI is enhancing everything from design to product optimization, like you mentioned. And today also, during the startup pitches, some of our startups are using some fraction of Gen AI into some of their use cases and solutions. It will be interesting to see their take on the use cases that they have built, right? So with this, Jamin, over to you. And we've been following your work since some time now. And you work at the crossroad of industrial automation and Gen AI, right? Two fields that are actually, transforming operations. So our question to you is, we talk about tech a lot. Everyone talks about the tech a lot, but let's talk about the crux. How do you envision the integration of these technologies, and which are actually advancing manufacturing processes? Because on a very frequent basis, lots of startups reach out to us, but somehow the integration is something that takes a lot of time. So straightforward, how do you envision the integration of all these emerging tech advancing the manufacturing processes?
Thank you, Naman, for this. I mean, very interesting question and a real problem statement that we have at hand, right? What is the challenge today in the manufacturing world? And my colleagues, I think they can echo this, right? The OT and IT predominantly are working differently. So much so that people of IT and OT don't even sit together and talk. Whereas the merger that you are talking about at a tech spec is blurring this line right from OT to IT, right? My colleague spoke about predictive maintenance, but I can have a predictive maintenance of my drill bit in an industrial floor lined up for tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. But the maintenance guy is already at the shop floor today. What's the point, right? The IT OT has to be fully converged. So I think the entire look of this solutioning approach from a problem statement is not technical. It is at a business level. The end-to-end connected process has to be looked at together with people sitting in one room together. I think if you look at the study done by Ernst & Young, most of the people, 74% of manufacturing companies are saying we don't have skilled resources anymore, and whoever is there are getting retired. Now, what do we do? right? And the skill is my OT also speaking the language of IT, and my IT understanding what in the world are these guys talking about with PLC and tags coming from S7 connectors or others. They don't know this language. How are they going to find a solution? I think that is the start. That is where the merger has to happen to start with, right? And that would be my first liner of answer. Start at a business process, sit in one room, understand each other's languages. There is no more pyramid. There is no OT layer, IT layer. This is all becoming a mesh. Start there and you will find out the right solution.
Wonderful, wonderful take. And I would request all our attendees, I hope you all are making notes. And if in case you have any questions, please use the chat box to, ask questions directly to all our leaders, right? And thank you, Jamin. Like you clearly mentioned, right, neatly mentioned, the potential of integrating AI with automation to boost, efficiency is something really compelling. And looking forward to the discussion more. And Achyut, let's bring it over to you now. As a lead in strategy and open innovation, right? And you have a broad view of future trends, right? And so my question to you is, what are some of the promising technologies on the horizon for manufacturing, in your opinion?
Okay. See, I think we spoke a few sessions back as well around it. If you look at the entire life cycle, we covered few technologies already, but two key aspects when we look at technology integrations in the manufacturing life cycle, whether it be an MSME or whether it be a large manufacturer. I would say that, so we just covered a host of problems more around the prototype development or the design, where intake, a lot of interventions can be made, because eventually either we are solving an efficiency problem or a decision support problem, or we are giving it back in terms of new revenue generation back to the manufacturer. But there's also one more area which is coming up really fast and big, is the entire aftermarket or the remanufacturing segment. As we look into the entire circular economy play which is there, where manufacturers are also looking at methods and means where areas like remanufacturing could be avoided actually. And that leads to a lot of benefits to back in terms of the tech integrations which could be done. So I would say that, of course, whilst building the product, prototype development, conceptualization, there are various benefits that are there. But one big sector which is coming up is the aftermarket space, where either it be B2B or B2B2C from that standpoint, and a host of technologies. AI can be one, and some of the native digital technologies also help feature back, specifically into the digital catalog space or inventory management space or the field services management space. These are very close to the business, and they give a lot of cost savings back to the manufacturer. So yeah, that would be one.
Well, that's an interesting take. Thank you, Achyut. And if you talk about emerging technologies, right, truly they hold so much potential for this particular sector. And now I would like to bring in Yagandeep. I see Yagandeep on the screen. So Yagandeep, you work with a lot of startups, these emerging startups, right? And also you've been working on lots of use cases, manufacturing specific use cases. So and especially on the co-creation program, co-creation with the industry leaders. So according to you, what is one of the biggest pain points which you feel that you feel or you have experience in eventually deploying these solutions within industries? I know it's a tricky question, but you have to answer it.
Thank you, Naman. I think there are several points which creates this particular area little challenging. The foremost part which I see as a challenge is lack of awareness, more from the side of manufacturers, especially if I talk about the SME side. there are less of the awareness about what can be exactly achieved through various technology and what can be the outcome. Sometimes the expectation is a little bit on a higher side than what can be delivered. And I think if you want me to point out the one major challenge, this is the one.
Correct. Lack of awareness. Nicely put. Thank you. Thank you, Gandeep. So, Jamin, over to you again. We talk about startups all the time. Startups are actually now becoming a driving force in industrial automation. And from your experience, what role do you see startups playing in this space? And what would be your advice for larger organization to, collaborate with these small disruptors? I won't say small, but with these innovative disruptors.
Absolutely right. I mean, thanks for that correction. Innovative disruptor. The disruption is big. Disruption is big and fast when it comes to the startup world, right? I think the major point around this is to be open for collaboration to make the value that the customer wants today. It is more of use case driven thing, right? I even go so much so that to say that the co-creation is already a late phase. Co-visioning is a start point, right? So if you are at a co-visioning state with the customer, bring the relevant startups with you, right? And also there is always a pitfall of what I call as coming out with answers before knowing the questions, which is I need to do something in Gen AI. Now I can do this in Gen AI, that in Gen AI, but hey, what is the question? Which is look at the real problem statement that you want to solve. Otherwise, what happens is generally you try to solve a problem statement, which again, in my language, a OT manager might like it or IT manager might like it. But when you try to convince the leadership on value of it, right? If you're going to ask the money from CapEx or OpEx, why are you asking that money? Right? So yes, I could do some wonderful answering on my machine and my machine can tell me, oh, this is what I'm feeling as a machine personality. But is that really what is getting you value? Is my machine life cycle going up by 10 years? Is my energy coming down by 5%? Is my production increasing by 1% in metal sheets, for example? That's enough to put a 50 lakh ACV on a price point, right? But if it's just going to have a fun thing element into it, it's like having an answer to which I don't even have a question yet. So co-visioning, big companies with startups, with companies on a right problem statement together. I think that is the way to go according to me.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much, Gemini. In fact, for this co-visioning take, right, this is something that's really interesting take home for all of us, right? And so, ladies and gentlemen, right, co-creation is a past thing now. Let's focus on co-visioning, right? Probably this could be our new topic for some of our upcoming session. Thank you so much for this. Now, Harini, coming back to you for a moment, I know. In fact, our team has very well, made us aware with some of your impactful projects that you have led around digital transformation, right? So, could you tell us about a project that stands out, and in your opinion, and what do you see as a key factor that contributed to its success? We are talking about digital transformation
in manufacturing, right? Again,
right.
I'll take Jamin's favorite topic, IT/OT. Though we have come up with the industry terms like Industry 4.0, now Smart Manufacturing 2030 is the slogan of the world, right? Still, we hold the legacy baggage with us. Skill set gap is too huge. And Industry 4.0 itself is a coined term for IT/OT merger or convergence, which did not happen that successfully, right? And I'm not saying that we've done the project successfully, but we are making a first step effort to bring in the right IT/OT convergence and edge strategy into the company. At least pick one or two sites, right? And bring in how many of level 1, I would not say level 1, at least level 2, level 3, and level 4 applications can move to the right ops or point of presences or edge on cloud or edge on premise, and see how much of modernization can we bring into these applications. This is our first step, and it is a huge step, provided it's a pharma company. And then that's where we are starting. That's our first step. And yeah, we would want to call it as Industry 5.0 or smart manufacturing, but that's is one of the biggest initiatives I've seen across multiple companies. And yes, we are also moving towards it. And what makes us successful is measuring all the dimensions of it, not only considering technology change, it's a mindset change, skill set change. And when I go and say to business, okay, I'm bringing latest and greatest, do I really care? No. As Jamin said, it's a measurable success is what moves you forward. So hence, yeah, I will take a pause there because I can't go into the use case details coming from pharma background, but that's where we are starting. And then that's one of the biggest, step we are taking.
So that's a great take. We actually got the bigger picture, right? Thank you. And I see so many hands raised. So I would request everyone to use a chat box to post some of your questions or queries, right? As we go along with our discussion. And Ram, coming back to you, Harini neatly touched upon 4.0 segment, right? So 4.0 adoption has its own challenges, as we all know. So my question to you is, from your experience, what are some of the biggest hurdles manufacturers face when adopting these technologies? And a follow-up question, how do you suggest they overcome them?
Yes, sure, Naman. So talking Industry 4.0, we have a maturity index study. We did a study in manufacturing companies to see where the bottleneck is. So that's a big study. I will not go into that, but coming back to generative AI specifically, from our recent study, the biggest obstacle for its adoption, like I said before, is their concerns around ethics, bias, right? So copyright infringement issue, copyright violation issues, IP infringement issues. So how do we address it? Like, for example, WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, has given several steps on how we can address it. So Harini touched upon Industry 5.0 also, right? So you asked about Industry 4.0, but the difference is the human element. So I will talk about the human element, which also addresses some of the challenges, and as we prepare for Industry 5.0, because it's a journey, right? It's not a destination to reach Industry 4.0 or 5.0. So talking about the human element, continuing from where I left off, and also to answer your question. So two things I see interesting in generative AI. One is the explainability part, right? So sometimes when there is a conflict between what the algorithm says versus what the human says, earlier it was a big problem because, as you know, Gen AI is a black box. But now with the more recent models, technology providers are able to come up with logics on why a decision was taken. So it could be a product recall, or maybe in healthcare, it could be an X-ray scan. Doctor says there is an issue, the algorithm says there is no issue. So it's a life or death thing. So how do you decide what to do? So explainability is something that is progressing, that will be a key requirement in Industry 4.0 going forward. One more is a democratization part. So earlier, these technologies were available only to a select group of people, to a function like data scientists, for example, or the CIO's office. So Jamin also spoke about IT/OT integration. So I think generative AI is democratizing AI for all functions across the enterprise, maybe even across the ecosystem, to include people like suppliers and dealers. I think one example I read recently was Airbus. Airbus said generative AI has democratized its usage. For example, lightweight parts need to be designed. The parts have to be aesthetic, at the same time they should be aerodynamic. They have strength requirements, performance requirements. So if people are trained on prompt engineering, I think IKEA was one more example where people in customer service were trained very heavily on usage of generative AI. So as we move towards Industry 5.0, looking at these challenges that it has, two interesting concepts that we can look at, which companies are working on. Some are working, some need to address more. One is the explainability part, where humans are there. The other is a democratizing part. How do you make sure it goes to every corner of the organization? This in a way also addresses the other concern: will automation take away my job? So as many experts have said, automation and generative AI is only going to change the nature of jobs, the type of jobs, the job description. So by reskilling people, by making it more explainable, by democratizing it, we bring in people into the loop. that way we are also going towards Industry 5.0, where, like Jamin said, we don't do it just for the sake of doing it, but you have critical problem to address. You keep the humans in mind, you train them well. It's not only for a select few. So that's the way I see how, what are the challenges and how they can be addressed.
Well, wow, you actually touched upon a lot of pointers, right? So yes, automation, there has always been fear, newer technologies taking away jobs, right? Be it when the calculators came or let's say computers came, right? So it will change the nature of job, like you rightly said, but it will make the job smarter and more faster, right? So thanks, Ram. And we'll now, move to Achut. Achut, one more question for you, identifying the right problem statement for innovation can be challenging at times, especially with so many disruptions or disrupted technologies out there, right? We talk to a lot of startups. Yagandeep can second that. Every startup out there claims their claim to fame is they have AI into it, right? Every second startup will say they have AI or some tech involved in it, right? So what's your approach, to helping businesses prioritize the most impactful areas for innovation?
Sure. Yeah, so that is one reason I am refraining from talking a lot of emerging technologies today, because eventually, if you talk about and everybody has their unique approaches, of course, but predominantly it is core revenue and core sales for a manufacturer. Whether it is core revenue in terms of product sales, which could be generated from your direct opportunities, OEM or wholesalers, or it could be various secondary revenue streams. We just touched base upon aftermarket. We touched base upon various IP licensing and royalties, which can be used technology integration, and we've seen so many examples in the OEM market where it has enhanced essentially the revenue for the company, or it could also be product customization, or value added services which can be added. So if we categorize this into first understanding where the revenue potential is, right, that would be the starting point of introduction of investments into say a 10% or a 5% innovation fund into, say, building in new R&D, because whilst this can sustain and this can take the long tail of revenue of investments, you also need new product lines, because eventually the product life cycle has to either be extended by enhancing, or we are looking at new products getting introduced in the entire value chain. So yes, that sort of is the starting point, and eventually, yes, it moves into a similar place where you have a decision to make when you have to partner, you have to invest, or you have to acquire, and then essentially is the integration part which is there. So yeah, that would be few.
No. Great take, Achut. Thank you for that strategic insight. I'm sure all our startups or attendees out there are making notes. And so with this, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the first part of the discussion. We'll continue again after the startup pitches, right? And we won't let go of all our speakers so easily right now. So now for the second segment, all of you, Ram, Harini, Jamin and Achut, and Yagandeep, you all will be now, eventually you will be transformed to sharks now. You will be evaluating some of the pitches by some of the brightest mind that we have curated from different parts of the country. All right, now transition to the second half of our session, the startup pitches. Can we have all our startup or all our stars on the screen, please? I have the names with me. Let me call out the names. We have Rajendran from Siskioti. All right, I can see him now. Hi. We have Jagjeet Singh, founder of Energita AI, and Prakash, founder of VisionBot. Can we have all of you on the screen, please? All right, lovely.
Prakash.
Perfect. Now in the next 60 seconds, let me, tell you a story, about a kingdom that learned a very hard lesson about focus. So once upon a time, quickly, there was a king who loved big parades, So every time he went to war, he insisted on taking his entire kingdom with him. His musicians, his dancers, wow, a line of elephants, and even the royal chef. Would you believe it? Why? Some of you may ask. Because in his words, winning a battle is important, but so is making an impression. Fair point, right? Some of you might agree. So the king goes to the battle, drum rolls beating, right? And his soldiers are trying to fight while also keeping the elephants in line, dancing around the musicians at the same time. You can imagine how that went, right? Or how this went. Instead of quick and focused strike, it turned into, well, a royal mess. By the time they actually got into the battlefield, they were too tired, too distracted, and you guessed it right, they lost the battle. Now, the point is why I'm telling you this story. Because today we are here to win a different kind of battle, the battle for attention. Each of you amazing innovators has 6 minutes to grab it and hold it. So think of it like a quick strike, not a grand parade. Leave the elephants back into the castle. No founders background here. No stories of team formation, no trophies, no awards. We are not looking for that extras. Instead, focus on essentials that can impress all these sharks today, or I would say all these speakers, leaders. Tell us your innovation story, share a use case that make us go, wow, that's brilliant. And if you have got numbers, even better, that prove your impact. Don't hold back. We want your battle plan, not the backstory. All right, without further ado, right? Thanks to all our startups who are presenting today. So I'll now call out the first startup. We have Rajendran, founder of Siski OT. Rajendra, over to you. You may share your screen, and then we move to Jagjit and then Prakash. Rajendran, you have 6 minutes to impress all of us and win this battle.
Thank you, Naman. Thanks for that. Please let me know if you can see my screen.
We can, yes.
Yeah, so we are Siski OT, cybersecurity company. So we spoke a lot about IT OT convergence. So when we speak about IT OT convergence, then the next concern about security. How are we going to ensure the security where the OT is exposed directly to the IT? So this is where we are focusing now. When AI is enhancing the productivity, enhancing the manufacturing, at the same time, it's our duty to ensure the security of your OT layers. So this is what Siski is now. Before jumping into the topic, maybe I'll just go through a small use case. Maybe just give me a second, please. Yeah. So I don't know why this use case is not coming. Okay, so let me start with the use case before starting into the summary. I'll give an example where we installed more than 150 instances of our solutions in Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. They are one of our end users. They are one of our customers. We were working with them from 2020. So at the initial stage, they started implementing cybersecurity by 2020. At that time, they put some third-party IT solutions to protect, like to collect logs, security logs from their environment, and they faced a pain saying that these particular IT solutions, it was not compatible with the environment, OT environment. And also some of the SCADA systems, legacy SCADA systems, which is even not sending any logs. So, but the end user wants the logs from those even SCADA systems as well. So those IT specific applications, they couldn't do that. That was the pain it was faced by the end user. This is where we pitched in. We provided a POC through some of the contacts. We approached them, and then we provided a POC. Initially, when we gave our solution, they were not happy. They gave some comments, and then we approached them again with the final POC. And that time, when they tested it, they were quite happy, and still they gave some comments, because since it was a POC only, we did not have proper user interface and so on. So they asked us to come back with proper user interface so that they can buy the solution. So the third attempt, when we approached them with the proper user interface and then the complete package, they were quite happy to approve that. And by this time now, by 2024, we have more than 150 instances in running in different facilities of the Electricity and Water Authority of Dubai, which is one of the major end users. They provide electricity supply and as well as water supply to the whole Dubai. So, and not just that, that was the moment in 2020 we pitched in, we established our company, and in India we established as a private limited, and then we started selling through Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. From their references, we started selling to oil and gas sector and then other utilities as well in the Middle East region. Now slowly we expanded it to Middle East. Apart from Middle East, even in India, Power Grid Corporation of India is one of our end user, and then UK National Grid and so on. So, and we started with first product, but now the same customers, they approach us to solve pain points in the other solutions like vulnerability management and asset inventory. So we started building some more solutions for the same customers. So with that, Cisco OT was established in 2020. We are based in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, India, and legal entity name is Cisco Software Private Limited. And to the best of our knowledge, we are one of the first cybersecurity company or OEM from India offering software products specific to industrial automation and control system networks, which is operation technology networks. And we focus building customer-centric security products for the OT industry specifically, OT environment specifically. And so far we have 3 solutions, and there are some more solutions in the roadmap which is yet to be built. So the complete products are made in India for the industrial customers around the world. So we are recognized by Startup India. We are also an NASSCOM member and MSME registered company as well. This is the case study which I explained, Dubai Al-Shireen Water Authority. So by 2021, we started selling to the products. Now we have more than 150 solutions running there, and not just one solution. We are also selling another solution to them, vulnerability management and asset inventory management. So, and also we are going to make and drafting enterprise level agreement for next 5 years for the maintenance and as well as for the new upcoming solutions. Impact of cyber attack, maybe I don't have to explain because we are all aware if something happens to the manufacturing plant, or if something happens to the nuclear plant, if somebody is hacking nuclear plant, or if somebody is hacking oil and gas plant, what would be the impact? It would be not just IT, cyber, not like cyber attack in IT, but the impact in OT would be really huge. So the pain point, what we observed was most of the existing cybersecurity solutions were developed keeping IT in mind and not specific to OT sector, which resulted in compatibility issues, mismatched outcome, and so on. So, and also the increasing convergence of IT and OT nowadays, it made it easier for the hackers to access to the OT. This is where security is concerned when AI and Gen AI and other IT related integrations are happening with the OT. So why Cisco OT? We have a team of good understanding on the OT landscape, and also we know the unique challenges faced by the OT layer. And also we have a team who has strong knowledge of converting that problem into an IT product. That's where we are a team of, within our team itself, we are a merged team of IT and OT together. And our long-term vision would be to be a global leader in providing purpose-built network and cybersecurity solutions specific to OT industries. About our products, currently we started with the log management solution, OT log management solution, because that is the foundational pillar for implementing a cybersecurity. Collecting logs from the network plant. If you see this picture, the telecom network is the layer between IT and OT. So below that, it is OT layer, and the above is control center is the IT layer. So the solutions what we are having here is Scribbler Log Manager is running in the OT layer, which is implemented in the plant or substation side, where it collects the logs from all the SCADA systems and HMI systems, IEDs, PLCs, and so on. So with the help of these logs, only the user or the admin sitting in the control center can know what is happening at site. Even for if some attack happens, for post attack analysis, they need the logs. So this is why Scribbler was introduced by 2021, and which supports most of the industrial SCADA systems, PLCs, and then OT environment. About second product, for the same demand from the same customers, we developed the next product, OT Asset Discovery and Inventory Management Solution, which collects the inventory details like what is the name, make, model, firmware version, software version, all the details about particular asset running in each and every location through multiple industrial protocols. Like we started with IEC 61850 protocol, then added Modbus TCP, and based on the request from other oil and gas and other manufacturing industries, we are now building Ethernet IP of Rockwell protocol. So this is querying to the device, getting the information, and then storing it. So centrally, it is using the asset inventory details are collected from each and every location, and then it is sending it to the central cockpit, which is sitting in the IT layer. So here we are collecting all the asset inventory details, and then we are comparing it with the vulnerability database, national vulnerability database, to check if there is any security gaps or if any technology gap or vulnerabilities in the particular assets that we are reporting. And in the roadmap, we have another product to be developed, which is Cisco OT Network Manager, which is a kind of network management solution, which includes status monitoring, network mapping, like complete visibility of the network, and then including asset details, all those things. Not just that, we are adding deep packet inspection, and also continuous threat detection, anomaly detection, and so on. So this is in the roadmap. We are yet to build maybe by 25-26, we are trying to complete this product. And all these products like a log management solution and network management solution, which is running in the OT layer, will be integrated to the IT layer, where SIM solution or kind of analytical solution, which will be powered by AI, So we are also trying to build our own Siski OT SIM solution, which will be powered by artificial intelligence, and then for further enhancing the logs or kind of building a rules, or so that AI can help us finding what kind of rules would be suitable for finding security threats, security issues in the OT layer. About our roadmap, currently we have OT log management solution and OT asset inventory and vulnerability management solution. In next 1 or 2 years, we are trying to build a OT network management solution, which includes continuous threat detection and monitoring. Also, OT SIM with powered with AI for which will be demanding for the emerging markets like India and other small and medium enterprises. Also, our end goal is like for OT layers completely, like we are also trying to come back with a security platform which will have all key solutions like log management, asset management, vulnerability management, and also the continuous threat detection and so on. So this will be somewhere.
Wind it up, Rajendran. Last 1 minute, 60 seconds.
Yeah. Sure. Our target audiences would be, we started with energy and power, and now we are focusing to expand it to oil and gas, manufacturing, transportation, and telecommunications as well. So this is some of our key customers who are trusting our solutions, including Siemens, and then end users like in India, Power Grid, but in other part of the world like Transco, ADNOC, Dubai Electricity Water Authority, and so on. Target opportunity-wise, we have globally opportunity like a $61.5 billion by 2030 we are expecting, and slowly we are growing. Almost 260 plus instances are running globally now, and Asia Pacific is likely to possess lucrative market opportunities for us. And the revenue model sale of perpetual licenses so far, it is one time for initial sale and then support renewals. And we are also support renewals will be like annual maintenance contract will be recurring annually. Also, we are trying to build on-prem subscription-based solutions, which would be a recurring solution. And our business, most of the business is business to business and also business to government. It is about our team. Myself, Rajendran Chellamathu. I'm co-founder and CEO of this company. Looking for, I'm taking care of sales, business development, and strategy, and with me, my IT team. Prakash Ponnuswamy, who is from Philips, and thank you so much for your time.
All right, there you have it. Thank you so much, Rajendran. And now we'll quickly take up questions, if any. All right, sure. I see a few thumbs up already, Rajendran. So your pitch was almost perfect. All right. So we'll take the questions offline, and in the interest of time, we'll now move to. Thank you so much for the great pitch. Right, we'll now move to Jagjit, founder of Energita AI. Jagjit, you know the format. Jagjit, over to you. Just quickly guide us through the innovation, use cases, and your tech stack in 6 minutes.
All right. Is my screen visible?
Yes, we can see.
Hi everyone. So my name is Jagjit, and I'm the co-founder of Energita. So we are a company that is in the efficiency space, particularly in HVAC systems. So as we know that HVAC is being used heavily in the manufacturing space, particularly if you talk about pharmaceutical sectors and etc. So we are into the energy efficiency of that particular product. So we are based out of IIT Madras, and this is the team. I'll quickly skip it. So what is the problem we are trying to solve? So as you can see that the average temperature of world is getting increased due to carbon emissions from all of the manufacturing process and everything else. And if you like, we are on the verge of just breaching the 1.5 degrees Celsius of temperature increase. If we reach there, so it is a irreversible process. The irreversible process is like the things will happen that will not come back to their normal positions. So what is the solution? Solution is to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions. How we can do is we can do it with the renewable energies. Sure, why not? But that is only the half side of story. What else we have to do is we also have to reduce the production of carbon dioxide. And how we can do is possibly by reducing the wastage. And this is the where we are operating. We are trying to reduce the wastage of electrical energy in a HVAC system. Also, like the government of India or government worldwide is pushing towards iotization or digitization of the equipments or buildings. That is where we are aligned. As you can see that in India is at the Indian building consumption is the world. It's the highest among the world. It is increasing 2.5%. So we are going to need a lot of electricity, and there we are having a lot of opportunity to save it. So in case of manufacturing, so as you know that we need like data and AI can solve a lot of problems. For example, predictive maintenance, quality control, digital twin, and optimization energy savings. This all we know we can do it. But where is the data in manufacturing? We are in India, all the machines and all the equipments are very old without having all the data present in the on-premise system. Somebody has to go there and take the data. A lot of things are there. So we started from there itself. We have our proprietary tech in the IoT systems that sits on top of your existing BMS systems or existing machines. We read the data from there and send it to the cloud. It all happens in an very efficient manner. You don't have to put any cables or anything else. Just put our meter on top of it, and we'll do the rest of the work. It works with a lot of all the protocols, Modbus, BACnet, and everything, and it will just seamlessly take your data. Now what? The data will now come to our dashboard. You'll be able to see the health of your equipment, everything, the live data, everything will be there. Like this is the complete digitization of your equipments. Now what? Now like you have taken the data from your plant, but something you have to also give commands to your system so that some actions can be taken. So that is where our next feature comes into the picture. That is the controls part. We have built a digital twin of your machine on our system, and then there you can look at like you can have all your parameters present there, and you can give any commands you want to happen. You can increase the set point. You can increase, for example, in case of this is a AHU unit, you can increase the fan speed, increase the set point. You can damper, increase, decrease. So all of the controls you can do. So that is it. Now you have like two-way communications. You can read the data and you can give the controls. So now what is the next part? So next part is the modeling. Can you predict what is going to happen next day in your plant? Like how much load will be there on the machines or building, and how much what will be the temperatures, and what will be the overall condition in which your plant is going to operate. So that is where we use our all these deep learning models, LSTMs, transformers. We take that data, we do the predictive modeling of the of data that we have collected so far, and also like we come up with the with the calculated metrics based on the domain knowledge that is essential for a AI model to learn the behavior of the machine. So that is fine. Okay, now you have your predicting modeling as well. You have everything else. But so as a outcome of predicting modeling and thing, you can have a lot of stuff on top of it. You can have like anomaly alerts. You can have outliers. You can detect a lot of alerts. So this is like some plus point on top of it, that the industry, that the stakeholders will get to know if their plants are operating perfectly, or there's a sensor failure, there's a machine failure. So it reduces the downtime in the machines. Fine. So you have all this. Now you have the predictive data, you have everything else, but there should be something that should even like that should suggest you some actions to take, what to do. So that is where our next part comes into the picture. That is the reinforcement learning. So this is basically a type of AI model that learns from its actions. It can be actions taken by this AI agent itself, or it can be the actions taken by a human expert. So it starts from a very naively taking some set of random action in the sense, for example, if you want a certain temperature in a certain area, that temperature can be attained with a lot of ways. You can increase the fan speed, you can decrease the set point of a chiller, you can open your dampers. There are a lot of variables that you can change to achieve the same type of effect. So this is where our agent will come into picture. It will start taking some actions, maybe naive in the starting. Even like if you take some wrong action, the human can come into picture and can correct it. And then once it keeps so this model will keep on learning slowly based on the experience that it has gained from the data and being into the operation. So as a result of it learns to operate in an optimal manner that is even better than a human. So this is an example of like a learned agent. So as you can see on the right hand side, so this is the normal operations in which we human are tends to perform, because we don't want to like go there and change the settings every time there's a change in, let's say, outside condition, atmospheric condition, or other things. So this is when the AI system is on, you can see the extent of energy consumption, energy saved in the overall system, and this is the impact of this RL agent. So what we offer? So we offer three solutions. One is your smart monitoring, where we digitize your entire system with our IoT sensors and show them at a one dashboard. We do smart automation, where you can, secondly, you can schedule your actions on the machines and everything. And third is AI based controls, in which our AI agent will learn the optimal actions that needs to be taken at appropriate time to conserve electricity. So this is our success story. We have worked with the residency towers for past 2-3 years, and they recently have won Excellence in Energy Management Award from Society of Engineers and Managers. So yeah, this is quickly my talk.
All right. Well, that was quick and neat. And looking forward to discussing more some specific use cases offline, right? So, I would like to, bring in all our speakers now once again before we go to our last startup for the day. All right. So we have, okay. Can we have all our speakers before we move to Prakash? All right. We have Jamin, Harini, Ram, Achyut. All right. So, given everything we have discussed today, including the startup pitches from AI's role into product life cycle to collaboration between startups and established players, I would like to know your take on one key questions, right? One key question which would be, what do you believe is the most critical shift or focus area that manufacturing should prioritize in the next 5 years to not just stay competitive, but also sustainable? And if you believe there is one area you think will make the biggest difference, what that would be? So this is a common question for all. I'll let Achyut answer it first. Achyut, most critical shift or focus area that manufacturing should prioritize in the next 5 years?
So shift left basically in all and it's very common across any of the areas. So as and when technology is enhancing, so we have the ability to shift left in our planning, design planning, executing, and also assessing more and more of the NPDs getting generated. So yeah.
All right, Harini, your take?
I agree with one point. The new product introduction is very important. NPI is the top notch and topmost. According to NPI, how do we adjust our systems? We should be well prepared for that. That is one. Number two is interoperability. If we don't have data at one place, there is no advanced analytics, there is no AI, there's no anything. Simple as that. So it is important that the companies invest in interoperability and integration. And third point is ethical AI, which is the ground rule.
That is very important. Ethical AI, right? I've underlined it. All right, over to you, Jamin.
I mean, two things, right? Upskill. If you don't know what is the art of possible, you can't work on it, right? OEMs want to have competitive pricing and want to win with services that they give. But if you don't know the services, what are you going to give, right? So upskill. Second, and very, very important, is in that upskilling, be very mindful about sustainability. While you may try to use a lot of Gen AI and everything else for your machine sustainability, do you know that using Gen AI has maybe a much more higher carbon footprint based on what kind of model that you use? Let's be responsible world citizens and be very learned about sustainability point of view, right? So these are the two things: upskill, sustainability, alertness, and awareness.
Perfect. So in bold letters, upskill is the key to achieve some success. And Ram, what's your take on these 2 points?
Yeah, Naman, I think my panelists covered most of what I wanted to explain. But just to take ahead what Jamin was saying, so we have what is called responsible AI, right? So you have to look at the carbon footprint of these data centers which run these large language models. How do you use it? What decisions should be taken locally with edge computing or fog computing? You don't have to go to the center for everything. So in one word, if I have to say, I think responsible AI is going to be a very important practice that takes care of the ethical AI, which Harini mentioned. It talks about upskilling, which Jamin mentioned. So we have what we call 12 tenets of responsible AI. So that would be my take.
Perfect, perfect. Responsible AI it is, everyone. Now, Yagandeep, over to you.
Thanks, Naman. I think the from both of the startups, what I feel is going forward, the finding that particular point where the IT OT integration is taking place, and I mean, if it can be make sure that whatever the OT part is missing, if we can bridge that gap, so that should be the objective here. How we can make the smooth transition from OT to IT.
Perfect. Identifying the gap and then actually working on it would be the key lesson. Yes. And with this, we'll move to our last presenter, who Prakash. Prakash, he's the founder of a startup called Vision Bot. Prakash, can we have you on the screen, please? All right. Prakash, yes, you may share your screen and take us through the innovation you're working on. Prakash, over to you. Prakash, your voice is on mute if you're speaking. I don't know. I can't hear you. Can anyone confirm, because I can't hear him?
No, Prakash, we cannot hear you.
Yes, tell me.
Well, I think you are using wireless earphones. Prakash, can you
Prakash.
try once again? We'll give it a one more try, and then we'll see.
Okay. So we don't have business in those sense, so we not try.
Again,
Still
you
not
have
clear.
you have gone mute, Prakash.
I think there's some problem. As you can see, technology can be a boon and bane both, right? So, all right, then on that note, probably we can have Prakash later on our upcoming sessions, right? And we'll just quickly, we have come to a conclusion and towards the end of the session. I'll again bring in all our speakers, all our leaders for one final take, right? This is again, as I said, open discussion, knowledge sharing platform, free flow exchange of ideas, thoughts. There is no predefined flow or any specific set of panel discussion sort of thing. But I would let Jamin come in first. Jamin, anything that you would like to share with all our attendees who have joined us, startups, innovators, our team, investors, right? Anything. This is a free flow exchange of information. Anything you wish to share?
I mean, only one statement from my side, maybe, right? As I think Ram mentioned, right? So it's not about technology replacing humans. It is AI enhanced humans. Everywhere where we are, leave the machine part, leave the technology part to the Gen AI, where there is conscious lookout in terms of human intervention, keep the humans involved, right? So I think AI enhanced humans is what the future looks like, and plan towards it.
Perfect. Plan towards it. And Achyut, any concluding remarks?
Yeah, so I would say increasingly, just as we have new hire trainings in any organization, the speed at which it will be adopted is different, but we'll also have new hire AI trainings in terms of embedded in the workforce. So as you are very well adept in general office technologies like Word and presentations, you will have an AI toolkit. for the worker, and that is needed eventually. So and that only enhances your efficiency as an employee. So yeah.
Right, right. I would say learn, unlearn, and relearn is a thing that needs to be done right now. And Harini, yes, your take or any concluding remark?
My statement would be to the startups. Now is the time for huge opportunity. Move fast, fail fast, and then be in the right forums. I'm sure you will all succeed, and looking forward for more startup engagements from the enterprises as well.
That's quite a positive closure from Harini. Over to you, Ram.
Yeah, no. And so I'll take the human element one more level deeper. Like I was thinking during Rajendran's session on Cisco OT, how much he was talking about water management in Middle East, and then he spoke about energy and other companies in the roadmap. So it's just these technologies is not sufficient. Nobody can take away the importance of domain knowledge. So people on this call, right, they have spent time in specific industries. So knowing the nuances of the industries, whether it's automotive or electricity, energy, water, whatever it be, nobody can take away that importance. That cannot be taught to a machine. It's going to take time. So that again comes back to the human element. So focus on domain knowledge. Whatever you pick up will be very valuable, which no machine can easily replace. So domain knowledge is what would be my takeaway.
All right, all right. Great, great. Yagandeep, anything before we conclude, before we end?
My only point would be for the startups, they should, try to connect with more number of industry leaders and take their inputs on what are the actual problems they are facing on the shop floor. Once they would have that actual understanding on the shop floors, they will have better solutions. That's it. Thank you so much.
All right, all right. So as we, wrap up today's session, I just want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for joining us in this engaging session. We have a full house today, right? And we have witnessed some incredible insights, groundbreaking ideas that truly showcase the innovative spirit of our community. Thank you to all our team panelists. Thank you for sharing your expertise and real world experiences, which is very important. And as we saw, your contribution sparked valuable discussion. There were some questions in the chat box as well. We'll be connecting you with some of the interested folks later, that those reach out to us offline also, right? And to all our talented startups who pitched today, thank you for being brave enough to step into the spotlight, right? And before we conclude, I would encourage everyone to take the insights and connections made today back to your organization, whether you are into manufacturing technology or investment. The learning we have shared today can, pave the way for new collaboration and advancements. And let's keep the momentum going. If you haven't already considered joining this community, please be part of this community. And together we can solve complex business problems, drive innovation, and create a lasting impact, as all of us speakers said. So as we close the virtual doors on this session, remember the journey of innovation doesn't end here. It's just a beginning. Let's stay curious. Thank you once again for being part of today's session. Have a fantastic evening and a very happy Diwali to all of you. We look forward to seeing you at our next session. Until then, keep innovating and keep inspiring.